YouTube world. You already know who it is, and you already know what it is. It's the Outlier B, and we right back up at you cats with another video. My good people, them. What's going on? How are you guys feeling? Today, we got an action-packed episode lined up for you. We're going to speak about that 10%, where I speak about the health, diabetes, pancreatitis. Next, we get into work. Then, I'm going to explain something about the scientific process or scientific theory in which I feel that sometimes we can misappropriate and sometimes we can use definitions that aren't correct and sometimes be confusing to ourselves. My people, be confusing to ourselves. And I'm also going to try to get into that Ghostface Killer album called Supreme Clientele, if we can. Which I'll notice is that these walks are getting shorter and shorter. They're getting shorter because every time I get close to the police station, my live goes out. And again, I think it's based directly off the fact that it's competing with other devices and my device is slow, so everything stalls out. So how that health go? How that health go? My health went very well, man. You know, still taking all my shots. My stomach is actually feeling much better. It hurt a little bit yesterday, but it was on point. Not too much was happening, wasn't too much burning. And I love that. I love that. Because truthfully, when your stomach hurt or any part of your body got chronic pains, it debilitates you or it can be debilitating, my people. This is my uncle coming up. Uncle about to hit me, son. How my uncle gonna hit me? Oh, shit, I'm gonna get hit by my uncle. Hold on. Yo. What up, Dave? Nah, I'm gonna walk, man. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk. All right, I'm gonna see you, man.
All right.
Yeah, that was my uncle. He's out in these streets early in the morning. He said he was gonna give me a walk, but give me a ride, but I'm good. I don't need a ride, my people. I do not need a ride. I like talking to you cats. So yeah, stomach feeling good, not many issues. Next, we speak about the work. And work is gonna lead into my main topic in which I wanna speak about, and that is parts of the scientific process. We're gonna speak about theories, and we also going to speak about facts, my people, theories and facts, all right? So yesterday, I told you cats about this company that we deal with. They are asking us for more trips. And I told you that my manager told me to jump into it, man, do a deep dive. And I discovered some things. And some of the things that I discovered helped me clarify the scientific process. And I think that we can use this as learning time, you know, as a time for learning. So check this out, my people. Check this out, my people. Told you cats that I work in transportation and that we give out our rides to different companies. Now, me and my role is to make sure that these people are abiding by all the rules of the contract. And I specifically get into the data, basically meaning that I check for data integrity, making sure that the information that they send us or the data that they send us makes sense. And I've discovered a few things, you know. So first we get a thing called the percentage of trips that make it into the service area. And this is basically all the trips that they hit, which may have GPS data and it may not have GPS data. And we have like a range in which the driver must come into before they can start classifying for our calculations. And we get all of this raw data. And sometimes some brokers or some different companies, they receive a different percentage of trips that make it into this area that we're speaking about. So let's say we got three companies, right? One company, let's say 97% of their data is getting in. Another company, let's say 95% of their data is getting in. Then another company, let's say 87% of their data is coming through. Now, it's me and part of my job to look and see exactly why this is happening. So we get something called a unique identifier for each trip. I'm not gonna tell y'all what that is, but I'm sure anybody who's into data, they can probably figure this out. But we get a unique identifier for each trip. And what that means is I could put it into the system. I could check which driver did these pickups. I could check the addresses that they were supposed to pick up. I can check the client that they were supposed to pick up. And I also can check their GPS data, meaning that let's say I was to do Uber Eats. I have a phone in which all my which I have to allow them to track. And that leaves a trail of GPS data. And somebody that's working for Uber in the same position that I'm in, they'll be able to look at my GPS data and see exactly where I was. This is why it's important for them to make sure that you're actually the person that's doing the pickups. So we got people on the check-in. Somebody said, do you have a VR? Do I have a virtual reality? That's what you're talking about? No, I don't have a VR set, man. Actually, them things make me dizzy. I put on one of them VR sets to do a racing game. And man, I don't know if it was the angle of the racing game that I was using, but that thing made me mad dizzy, man. And I couldn't use it. I had to take the thing off real quick. Somebody said, and people vigorously boo. I don't know what they talking about, bro. Somebody said, I'm going vigorously, bro. What up? What's good? Where you coming in from, my man? Where you coming in from? Let me clean up my glasses because I really can't see. Travion, 11G. What up? Where you coming from, man? Where you calling in from? Where you texting in from? So yeah. So basically, it's my job to make sure that these things happen. So when I check the trip ID, I'm blowing it up. But when I check the information, what I'm seeing is that I don't have GPS data for certain trips. Now, I want to figure out why. Why I got data for some trips and why I don't have data for other trips. And when I look into the system, it's a driver, the same driver. So a driver performing trips for one ID, I may not have GPS data for. But then for the next trip, and what you're doing, which may have the other client in the vehicle with them, I won't have GPS data for it. So I need to know why this is happening. Why this is happening. Somebody said, how much burpees you do today? How many burpees I did today? I ain't do no burpees today, my brother. Not yet. And I tend not to do burpees, man. I do just regular push-ups, yo. I do regular push-ups. I do regular pull-ups and sit-ups. I don't really do burpees. I need to include burpees in on my routine. But I just do regular push-ups. I do pull-ups. I do dips, son. I don't really lift weights. Keep a slim physique. Keep a slim physique, but ain't nothing sweet. You feel me? Keep a slim physique, but ain't nothing sweet. You feel me? Somebody said, how many? All right, so we did off of that. Somebody said, can you give me my, please? I'm going to put you up there, man. Somebody said, do you use the sidewalk for walking? I use the sidewalk or the street, man. If you was with me for the other days, you would see that I was walking on the streets, my people, because all these sidewalks was covered up with this snow. And we just happened to get some rain yesterday, which got rid of a lot of this snow, my people. Got rid of a lot of this snow. So now I am on this sidewalk, man. I'm on this sidewalk. Yeah. So, again, I'm noticing that certain trips have GPS data, then other trips do not have GPS data. Damn. So I got to figure out why and what's going on with this stuff. So that's an hypothesis, man. It's a hypothesis, yo, that when I'm looking at this GPS data, well, that's an observation. That's a fact that sometimes trips do not have GPS data, and I can't track it through the system. So that's an observable fact. That's a fact, right? Because I can observe it and I can see. That's a fact that some of these trips don't have GPS data. Now, when I look at these trips, what I'm noticing is that the correct driver's information is in the notes section. So the driver hack is correct. The driver's name is correct. The plate number that they're using is correct. The vehicle type is all correct. But there's another identifier for the driver, and that is the driver's actual ID. So now, when you look at the driver's ID, you see that that ID is different. That ID now is different than the real true driver's ID. And each driver has a unique identification number. Somebody said, do I play video games? Yeah, I play video games, man. I play video games. I grew up playing video games, but I stopped for a while. I stopped playing video games for a while, but when I do pick it up, I play sports games, my brother. I play sports games. So I have another channel out here. I'm speeding up my walk because I got 13 minutes to get to the train station. But yeah, I actually have another channel called In the Loop Gaming, where I actually play MLB The Show. And I believe it was like, damn, it was during COVID time back in like 2021, 2022, when I was heavy on the PlayStation. I used to play MLB The Show. That game right there is straight up official. I play 2K basketball a little bit, but I go back with these video games, man. And we could do some history on the video games, especially the sports games. I remember all of these sports games. I remember Tecmo Bowl, actually playing it. I remember Bases Loaded from like Nintendo days. I remember Mike Ditka football. All of these games, man, because I'll be 46 this year. So, I go back, man. I had a Dreamcast. I had a Sega Saturn. I had all of these systems, man, coming up. I remember the original Xbox when that dropped with Halo and all of those games. And Halo was another game that I was heavy on, son. Heavy on Halo. Like, we used to take off all the shields and play with just, no shields, none of that. So that pistol in the original Halo was a beast, son. I was nice as hell with the pistol. Like, I get a little bit of different distance, headshots all day, boom. One shot, one kill, my people. Somebody on the check-in, he asked me if I played GTA. Nah. I never really got into Grand Theft. Never got into Grand Theft. And I know I should. I did kind of play it a little bit, but I never really got into it. Same thing with Red Dead Redemption. Like, I remember when everybody was telling me how ill Red Dead Redemption was. And I'm like, I played it, but it wasn't really that ill. But I'll take it back a little bit and tell you, the first Resident Evil was my game. I used to love that game. The Resident Evil, the first one. What else? What was that other game I used to play a lot? Metal Gear. I used to play Metal Gear. Oh my God, for PlayStation, that game was so official. Like, that was like really one of the first games outside of sports games that I got into. Besides for like, the Mario Brothers and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely got into that. But yeah, MLB The Show is one of my best video games that I got into. I like playing Diamond Dynasty, where you put together all your different types of players, because it brings me back to a time, and it basically connects all games throughout all years. You feel me? So y'all know, well, y'all don't know, but my favorite baseball player is Fred McGriff, the crime dog. And they actually have a card for him in MLB The Show. So I'm one of them people, I don't care what first baseman I have. It could be, Jimmy Fox or somebody, Babe Ruth. I could put him out first. But if I got the crime dog on my team, I'm putting them on there, man. I'm putting them on there. Somebody on the check-in said, I haven't been modern. I haven't been mod on anyone's live stream before. Can you give me a mod, please? I got you, my man. And it's interesting that you say that, because I tell people about this stuff, and I never knew how to go back onto my lives and look at the comments, like the people who was commenting, because you aren't the first person to ask me to become a mod. And I told the other person, I'm like, yeah, I got you. You could be a mod, but I didn't know how to go back and do it, man. I didn't know how to go back and do it. I'm still learning. But I'm glad y'all rocking with me, man. I'm glad y'all rocking with me on these mornings, man. That's what I'm saying. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And I got you, man. We get into a lot over here. I was going to tell y'all about the scientific method and how you could tell the difference between a fact and a theory. And I was going to use what I learned yesterday to clarify that. But I see it ain't going to get into that. I'm going to have to push it to another day. And maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this is the Lord's work when you guys ask me these questions, because I may have been talking too much. You know what I mean? May have been talking too much, and I might have to use a different example. I might have to just go through and just talk about evolution and state how, a theory can never become a fact, and a fact never becomes a theory, because in science they're used for different purposes. Fact is something that you can observe, something that you observe, and the theory is the why. A theory is a why, and I was going to use my work to show how we came to that conclusion, but I guess we ain't going to get to that, I guess we're not going to get to that. Somebody said, I just subscribed to you. Thanks, my man. Who that? Dorito 1779. Dorito, yes, sir. All right, I got you, my man. Dorito, I'm going to remember. I'm definitely going to remember, my brother. Definitely add you on. Definitely going to add you on, man. But, yeah, that's what I was going to do. That's what I was going to explain. Maybe I'll explain it afterward, because I believe that, it's cool when you can use a real world example to show why certain things are real. And I was going to get into presenting this information to people and how you have to describe your methodology, describe where you get your data from, and how all this stuff adds validity to what you're saying. And this leads into a whole nother conversation about the schooling that we get in America. A lot of people like to talk craziness about the schooling, but what I notice is the higher up I move into my company, the more I'm learning about school, the more the fact that I'm learning, or I learned how to write papers, learn how to communicate the proper structure, learn certain words to use, how it all helps me now. But we coming up on 7-Eleven. Y'all know that's my time to get up out of here. I go get my coffee every morning, and we're going to go try to catch that 5 o'clock train, man. I got 6 more minutes. 6 more minutes. I figure it's going to take me 2 minutes or 3 minutes to walk up in there, then 3 minutes to get to the train system. Perfectly timed out. But that's all I got. Thank you, cats, for checking in. Somebody said, to be honest, I lay in bed, hearing your voice almost makes me fall asleep. That's a good thing. Night walk. That's a good thing, man. So throw me on. Hopefully you can fall asleep listening to me. That's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing. But I'm up out here. Thank you, cats, for listening. Thank you, cats, for watching it. Thank everybody for subscribing. I love y'all. We up out here, my people. Yeah.